Nobody knows the trouble Joe's seen. Nobody knows his sorrow. Except he did it all himself, and everyone else is actually the one dealing with the sorrow. I'll tell you exactly how much sorrow. What we know for sure is that nobody wants Joe. Let me explain. Hello, Team Healthy Republic. I've been gone for one whole week, and that's all it took for the President of the United States to supply everyone with even more evidence of incompetence, insanity, and insolence. Stay tuned to the end of the video for a real gem of evidence, because Joe doesn't know who he is. Is he Joe Biden? Is he Ron Burgundy?
It is noteworthy that the percentage of women who register to vote and cast a ballot is consistently higher than the percentage of the men who do so. End of quote. Repeat the line. Women are not without electoral and or political, or maybe precise, not and or political power. That's another way of saying that you, the women of America, can determine the outcome of this issue.
Damn it! Who typed a question mark on the teleprompter? For the last time, anything you put on that prompter, Burgundy will read.
And that he did. End quote. But you see, you're damned if you do, damned if you don't with Joe. Because that's what you get when Joe is on script, end quote. And when he goes off script, you get this. Repeat the line. You get this.
Some things that some of the groups want. I'm going to look like a fool here in this interview.
You look good.
But I put a helmet on because it's a tough interview.
Let's just throw it out there. Today's question is Joe Biden at all still with us? Even a little. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and if you could share this video, everyone will have a much needed laugh. Except for Joe. He doesn't know what's happening anyway. And you know it's pretty bad when even the celebrity class starts mocking you. When Elon Musk gets involved and trolls you, that says it's getting pretty bad out there, Joey. And so Elon Musk agrees with the Ron Burgundy assessment and says what we've all been thinking. Whoever controls the teleprompter is the real president. And on top of that, how bad has life gotten when Snoop Dogg, the D-O-double-G, is trolling you? The man's been stoned since the early 90s, but he sees clearly enough and has less mental fog than the commander-in-chief. Ever the entrepreneur, Snoop recently announced a premium cannabis called Sleepy Joe OG. The packaging is accurate, saying, "Where am I?" with 3 question marks, and you won't even remember what country you are in. I do think there should be a warning on the package saying to not ride a bike after smoking the weed, a la Joe Biden kaboom style. But the weed smoking and inhaling brings us to...
Where in the world is Kama-Lama-Lama Ding Dong?
Oh goodness, Kama-Lama Ding Dong is doing her duties as the number 2 while Joe is trying not to go number 2 in his pants. When she's not trying to keep from biting her tongue off while standing behind looking cool, calm, and collected while Joe Biden gaffes and gaffes, she's blatantly lying through her teeth.
But as all of us know, gathered here today, we would not be here were it not for the vision, the courage, the unwavering determination of one particular individual, Joe Biden.
For once, she gives a coherent sentence. It's a lie of a sentence, but a sentence nonetheless. And here's Joe showing that unwavering determination to find the place he is supposed to go. Valiant effort. He forgot to look at his personal cue card for that one. You go to the right. You stand up. Ding Dong needs a few cue cards with full sentences on them, so she stops blathering about nothing when she was supposed to answer a question about Roe v. Wade not being codified.
I think that, to be very honest with you, I do believe that we should have rightly believed, but we certainly believe that certain issues are just settled. Certain issues are just settled.
Clearly we're not.
No, that's right. And that's why I do believe that we are living, sadly, in real unsettled times.
Yeah, like times when people are unable to put a subject-verb-object together into anything resembling grammar. Anyway, Kamala is having to continue her lies as the media has turned on the rotting apple of an administration.
Listen to President Biden. He intends to run. And if he does, I intend to run with him. So there you go.
There you go. Her pot smoking has made her brain a little fuzzy. But she should know by now that cocaine is the preferred drug of the Biden family, so says Hunter. But if the family disputes it, it'll be just another example of the family fighting that is being revealed. As Hunter's drug-filled escapades with hookers continue to be explained, the latest drama reveals that Hunter sees Jill Biden as a vindictive moron and selfish. And that, as Hunter texted, Jill should go F yourself because let's all agree that I don't like you any more than you like me. How dare he speak like that of the greatest of all doctors who aren't actual doctors? She just gave a wonderful speech to the Latinx Inclusion luncheon and had nothing but kind words for all of the tacos in attendance.
With the understanding that the diversity of this community, as distinct as the Bogotas of the Bronx, as beautiful as the blossoms of Miami, and as unique as the breakfast tacos here in San Antonio, is your strength.
Those bodegas, and breakfast tacos. It was not so smart of a comment from the greatest Dr. J who doesn't play basketball. But don't you dare criticize her or anything resembling sanity because you'll get suspended. From the Army. Gary Valesky is a retired 3-star lieutenant general who dared to comment on Jill's post about Roe v. Wade, saying in a now-deleted tweet, "Glad to see you finally know what a woman is." Ooh, sick burn. And because of that, he has been suspended from an Army mentorship program. Because that's all it takes these days for Gestapo to get you. With as horrible a job as he is doing, and by that I mean not being progressive enough, of course, voters and the media are turning on him. Even the New York Times, perpetually up the back end of any Democratic president, had to run the headline, "Most Democrats don't want Biden in 2024, new poll shows." Even if you can't read very well, you can see by the poll that we are screwed. The New York Times Siena College poll found that Biden has a 33% approval rating, with only 13% of people thinking the country is heading in the right direction. With the way it's going, it is definitely heading in the right direction, as in ideologically right. Except don't believe that, because Joe read the same poll and found the data he wanted to hear about.
Mr. President, what's your message to Democrats who don't want you to run again?
They want me to run.
2/3 say they
Read
don't.
the polls. Read the polls, Jack. You guys are all the same. That poll showed that 92% of Democrats, if I ran, would vote for me.
A majority of Democrats say they don't want you to run again in 2024.
92% said if I did, they'd vote for me.
About that 92%. According to the Times, Biden had a narrow 44-41 edge in a hypothetical rematch with Biden and Trump in 2024. As they stated, the result is a reminder of one of Mr. Biden's favorite aphorisms: "Don't compare me to the almighty, compare me to the alternative." The poll showed that Democratic misgivings about Mr. Biden seemed to mostly melt away when presented with a choice between him and Mr. Trump. 92% of Democrats said they would stick with Biden. Well, no bleep Sherlock. Of course, then 92% of Democrats will support you. What's sad is that 8% still wouldn't want Biden for as much disdain as they have for all that is Donald Trump. Here's the real numbers. Of those who intend to vote Democratic in 2024, 64% want someone other than Joseph Robinette Biden to run, and 33% of them are a bunch of agists, saying age is the most important reason to prefer someone other than the sprightly Joe Biden. Joey will only be 80 in a few months. Geez. But another 32% say they don't want him for his job performance. How dare they question his ability to do the job? What are they, the Trump campaign?
On your mental fitness, whether you're up for the job. His campaign has called you diminished, and I'm curious how you would respond to that.
Watch me. Mr. President, watch me. Look at us both, what we say, what we do, what we control, what we know, what kind of shape we're in. Come on. Look, I think it's a legitimate question to ask anybody over 70 years old whether or not they're fit and whether they're ready. But only thing I can say to the American people, it's a legitimate question to ask anybody. Watch me.
Oh, we've been watching Father Time. In addition to releasing the poll data about Biden, Peter Baker of the New York Times also wrote a piece called "At 79, Biden is Testing the Boundaries of Age and the Presidency." I'll just give you the best part, where the West Wing aides talk about how bad Biden has become. But they acknowledged Mr. Biden looks older than just a few years ago, a political liability that cannot be solved by traditional White House stratagems like staff shakeups or new communications plans. His energy level, while impressive for a man of his age, is not what it was, and some aides quietly watch out for him. He often shuffles when he walks, and aides worry he will trip on a wire. He stumbles over words during public events, and they hold their breath to see if he makes it to the end without a gaffe. Now they're all dead because they held their breath too long. But how sad is that? Answer, almost as sad as Joe's job performance. And that brings us to...
I am President of the United States of America, and the buck stops with me.
Wow, look at us go. We are continuing to decline in the price of gas thanks to the gas holiday that the Biden administration put in place to make itself look better. But remember, that's just for a short period of time. And we are still $1.49 more than a year ago when the prices were already starting to climb. The Biden administration has no plan for how to actually fix the problems with oil or pretty much any other costs. Would you look at that? Consumer prices jumped sharply again in June. They rose 9.1%. Huzzah! But please tell me more about the plan of the plan to make the world a better place.
The president understands what the American people are going through. He understands that gas prices are high because of Putin's tax hike, because of the brutal war that Putin has taken on in Ukraine, and their brave fight for their democracy. That's what we're seeing here. And also the food insecurity, the food cost has skyrocketed. And that's why the president has done everything that he can to blunt those high prices. That's why he's tapped into the Strategic Petroleum Reserve. We saw a historic amount of barrels coming out a day, 1 million a day. That's why he is doing the homegrown biofuels, the ethanol 15, making that available this summer, which is not normally available this summer, so that we can try and bring down those costs.
Is that supposed to make us feel better? Because I didn't hear a plan in there.
Look, but again, we understand what the American people are feeling. We're doing everything that we can. We have a plan. Here's the thing. We have a plan. Republicans do not have a plan. What they want to do is take away rights from the American people.
Oh, so it's those danged Republicans again. The ones who want to get into office and then do nothing. I'd rather have those people than your ilk who just had to do nothing and the world would have been a better place. But you couldn't manage that. Oh, but it's those evil people. What do you call them?
We have Republicans who are doing extremes. The president calls them ultra MAGA. They are part of the ultra MAGA wing who are trying to take away the rights of the American people. That's what they're trying to do. And so we have to do everything that we can. American public has to do everything that they can to make sure that their voices are heard at the ballot box. And that's what the president's going to continue to speak to. And that's what the president is asking for people to do.
Oh, cool. I think the interpreter for that press conference speaks for all of us with her facial expression. Now, since every day that passes means Joe is one day closer to dirt, the piranhas are already circling, and they are starting to include Governor Gavin Newsom of California and Governor Largeman Pritzker of Illinois. We'll keep our eyes on who will emerge as the Democrats' top choice, but right now, they've got Bupkis. One of the actual top contenders is Transportation Secretary and man who can't fix a pothole, much less a supply chain, Pete Buttigieg. Petey keeps putting his foot in his mouth, or rather his husband does it for him, because Chasten decided it was wise to comment on the fact that a Supreme Court justice left Morton's restaurant in Washington, D.C. from a back door because of protesters out front. Chasten tweeted out a response Sounds like he just wanted some privacy to make his own dining decisions. I get it. Because like a woman to make decisions about her body, it's totally the same thing. And Petey stands by his man. He said that Kavanaugh, who, mind you, had an assassination attempt on him just, 5 weeks ago, should expect public protest.
Look, when public officials go into public life, we should expect two things. One, you should always be free from violence, harassment, and intimidation. And two, you're never going to be free from criticism or peaceful protest, people exercising their First Amendment rights. Okay. And that's what happened in this case.
Which means Pete and his husband are prepared to be protested, I assume. So we're back to being okay with the First Amendment. Is that where we are now? I'm so confused on when the First Amendment is actually allowed. But the question remains, is Joe Biden okay with the First Amendment?
Because make no mistake, sit down, you'll hear what I have to say. If you think you...
I've been trying to tell you this for years.
Let me finish my comment. Let him talk. Let him talk. No one, okay? Because make no mistake about it, this legislation is real progress, but more has to be done.
Let's just note that the man who is protesting there is Manuel Oliver, the father of a Parkland shooting victim, and he was invited to be in attendance while Joe talked about gun laws and legislation. So even when Joe is trying to get people on his side, he fails. But since the Biden administration is all about protesting, Oliver should be praised for his actions. And Biden's press secretary agrees.
So where's the line? If these protesters can go to a justice's house and they can go to a restaurant, where is it that you don't think it's appropriate for a group of protesters to go?
I just laid out, you asked me about intimidation. We condemn intimidation. We condemn any violence. And we've been very clear. It is a clear definition of what violence is and what intimidation is. Peaceful protest, people should be allowed to be able to do that.
In a restaurant?
If it's outside of a restaurant, if it's peaceful, for sure.
Really?
Peaceful protest.
Now, based on all that we have seen and heard today, Joe, if he can think anymore, may be thinking that someone is out there trying to sabotage him. And he's expressed as much.
Sabotage. My God, man, what does it mean?
We have to tighten security, sir. Find out who's behind it.
No. The word sabotage. What does it mean? Gotcha. Let's ring at the door, huh? Well, Walters, looks like we've got our saboteur.
That's your wife, sir.
Huh? Yeah, so it is.
And so it is. It continues to look like we are all heading in the same direction, down the mountain to the pits of hell. That's why we must remember and utilize our F's: faith, family, and friends. Please take a moment to share this video to show everyone where we're headed. Until next time, stay healthy, America. Repeat the line, stay healthy, America.